I gotta watch out, because he turns pretty quick for a big old rock guy, and he will very quickly be trying to throw a rock at me. Jeez. Dodge and take on. Look at him, he looks so cool, but he's about to die. Hey guys, it's Enemy K Swimming Bird, and welcome to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on Nintendo Switch. This is part 4. So if you missed any episodes so far, please catch up with the links down in the description. Last time we picked up the bomb runes during our second trial, and helped our buddy, the forgetful old man, cook up his favorite spicy dish, which did earn us this new piece of armor that we're wearing, and that'll help us fight back the cold. Now today we are heading through the Forest of Spirits to tackle a tough mini-boss, and then we're on our way up those snowy mountains towards the last 2 shrines on the Great Plateau. And I mentioned in the previous part, this is kind of an unorthodox route through the area, but that is the beauty of Breath of the Wild. You can climb over mountains and make whatever route you want to take. Now, there are certain ones that are hinted at, like from the old man's cabin, you can see a cliff with a bunch of ledges. That takes a bit of time to climb, and it can be pretty deadly if you fall. I also wanted to show you guys some stuff on the other side of the plateau that you might miss, so we're not going to take that, but it does teach you a pretty valuable lesson about the stamina wheel and how dangerous it can be if you're climbing, gliding, or swimming, and it starts to run out. You can really take some heavy damage or even die, so you gotta be careful. Now, we did just get a Korok, but there's another one right over here. These guys are all over the place. There are 900 in this world, and I'm gonna do my best to find as many as I can, but because there's so many, I might not find all of them across the adventure, but they are pretty useful early on, so try to seek them out. Eventually you'll start to notice the signs of a Korok, some weird stuff that's out of place will draw your eye and you'll know that they're there. And luckily they're also pretty common along the route you would want to take anyways. I see a boar right behind that tree, and I don't know if we can take him out before he gets startled. If we get too close, yep, they can hear you. So that little sound meter, the purple wavelengths down near the time, is a detection meter for things hearing you, and animals are very skittish in this game. They are not going to just sit still and let you take them out, and of course this boar running all over has alerted all the other boars running all over the place, and now this old man's hunt is ruined. Look at him. So we can zoom in with the right stick and pin stuff, and then when you get close to it, the pin will go away. But another thing you can do is go into the map and also lay down a stamp, and you can mark it with a bunch of different symbols, but you can change this into a pin, so you don't have to use the scope to put pins down. So I can mark, like, this is a dangerous area, and there's something cool over here, stuff like that. But let's talk to the old man. He's probably not too happy about that.
Well, so we meet again.
What are you doing?
Can you not see that I'm hunting here? You'll scare off my prey like that. At least crouch it down a bit.
Okay. Where are we going, buddy? Oh, I'm gonna follow him. Serpentine. Gotta keep those boars guessing. So yeah, he's sneaking around and hunting. Let's talk to him again.
What is it?
What are you doing?
Quiet, please. I'm still hunting.
You got any tips for me?
First, crouch down and approach your prey quietly to ensure you will not be noticed. When you're close enough that detection is nearly imminent, draw your bow and let your arrow fly. Aim thoughtfully, and you should be able to take down your prey with a single arrow. So if we aim at the face, just like with the bokoblins, we can take them down a little easier. And I'm gonna steal, just like in the other episodes, steal a bunch of the old man's supplies here. We've got some arrows, he does have a torch, and some good stuff. And now that we're by a campfire, I could do a little bit of cooking. I think it's pretty helpful to at least have some good stamina potions or food. So I'm gonna make some stamella shrooms into some meals here. We can add a normal Hylian shroom in there. You don't want to waste too many ingredients, even though you can hold 5 at a time. Early on, they will give you more hearts than you even have. Like this is gonna, give us 4 hearts, but you can see that stamina, if I start to run out, just eat that mushroom skewer, and I'll get a quick boost. So let's make another one here. Maybe I'll put a couple apples. Let's max it out and just see if we get some better stuff, because apples and mushrooms tend to heal the same amount, but they will be used differently in recipes. There we go. So now we have 5 hearts and a full little wheel of stamina. So that's going to be pretty helpful. And again, if you use monster parts, make sure you're using critters. I could take this chew jelly and throw it down near the fire. I just got to be pretty careful. There we go. Red choo-choo jelly. So this will explode into a ball of flame. But once we have the paraglider, that can help out because we can use it to boost up in the air
and glide around. But I got a decent amount of food. I think we're mostly pretty prepared here. I'm going to have an acorn just to fill that little quarter of heart that is missing. And we're going to start to make our way to the mini-boss.
Where did my prey go?
Sorry about that, buddy. Now, the pins, they are very helpful because you can see them on the mini-map, whereas the little stamps, you don't see them unless you pull up the full map. So you got to be a little careful. The boar's running wild in the bokoblin camp, and they're trying to take it down, and they will actually hunt. So they have interactions with the wildlife as well, just like you do. They will typically eat the stuff they find as well. And if I don't hit this guy fast enough, he might alert the others. There we go. Now they might not know that their buddy is dead because they're a little too worried about eating meat. Look at them. If I manage to, they're kind of facing, the opposite direction, so I don't think I can sneak up on any of these guys. But if I manage to, I can hit him with a... Oh, no, it was too fast there. He alerted to me. But those sneak attacks, if you hit him with that... I'm accidentally using a torch here. Let me switch to a sword. If you hit him with a sneak attack, it does 8 times the amount of damage that you would normally do. Let me see if I can sneak up on this one, because he's really having a time over there. He might be using the bathroom corner. And if I keep my little purple wavelengths in that meter down there short enough, we can hit him. And even with a torch, I think I could kill him. There we go. Sneak strike. And that is crazy amounts of damage. So those critical hits, when you hit him right in the snoot with an arrow, or throw a weapon at them, that does double damage. And the last strike before your weapon breaks also does double damage, but the sneak strikes are really the toughest hit that you can do, and typically will take out an enemy in one attack, so they're very helpful. If you're on a ladder, you can drop and just kind of like slide down. You can also keep your stamina from going away, because he'll recover if you just stop moving on a ladder. We don't really need a Boko Club. I'm going to keep that. Oh, no, we have an extra torch, so let's just, throw this. I could throw that at an enemy, and there we go. It broke. I'm going to start looking around here for some signs of life, because there are more bokoblins and some secrets waiting for us. And here's another sign that a Korok is hanging around. A flower, just a mysterious flower that you can't pick up, and if you go too close, it disappears. Playing a cheeky game with us here of follow the flower, and then it leads us eventually to a white flower, which will turn into the Korok. That's one of the creepier masks there. I'm gonna maybe go back to that camp and sleep so that it's a little nicer looking, because it's getting into the night here. You can see it's 8 p.m. When it hits 10, it will become night fully and be a lot darker. So I'm gonna head over to where the old man was hanging out. He's taking a rest as well, and we can sleep here. And I think there is, let me grab my torch, because there is another Korok hiding just over yonder. And I could use a fire arrow for this, but a little simpler just to use the fire that I've got on me and light this pile of leaves up. And just be careful. Oh no, I'm on fire. Let me have an apple or two. Apples are in great abundance, so you can just scarf them down if you don't want to waste some of your better food. There we go. We got a little Korok surprise. I love all the little designs for them. There's so many of them out here that they look pretty unique. All right, there's something hiding under this tree. What is that sparkling? It's a chickaloo tree nut. That's a favorite snack of the Koroks, I have learned, or at least tends to be around them a lot. And there's a silent shroom, so if we cooked that into a meal, it would give us a bit of a stealth effect, which could help if we're hunting. But we don't really need too much meat right now. I've got a lot of food already, and the meat does help if you want to complete this guy's quest before to get the warm doublet, but we had some bird meat.
How's the shrine exploration going?
What are you doing? I'm just always asking, what are you doing?
My back is achy. I clearly need to take a little break. Use my cooking pot as much as you like. Just remember to be smart about how you combine your ingredients.
I'm going to sit at the fire, though, and pass some time until morning, and then we are about to take on that tough mini-boss that is quite a bit scary. A lot of the bigger enemies, especially in this game, can one-hit kill you early on. With only having 3 hearts, it's not too surprising that they take you down so easily. So I'm going to head towards I think the purple pin was the one that I used. Yeah, there we go. And then the Koroks are also marked on the map, so if you ever have to remember which ones you've gotten, especially with 900 of them, if you're trying to keep them straight, then that can be difficult. But luckily, they mark them for you, so you know which ones you have discovered. So just over this hill here, we're going to start to see something interesting. And keep your eyes open for hidden stuff. Lots of loot all over the place. Later on, it's a little easier to find some hidden goodies, but we'll get into that when we get to that point. But gonna blast some rocks, just like in most Zelda games. Something good waiting for you, for your curiosity. All right, so down over this way. I'm gonna prepare myself for battle and get my torch ready. No, I'm actually gonna grab my claymore that we picked up because I want to do as much damage as quickly as I can. And you know when the game saves, you're probably heading into something dicey. So this just, looks like a normal quarry. If you watch some of the treehouse stuff of the game, you might recognize this area. And what's about to happen, I'm gonna jump up on this boulder, but it's not a boulder, it's moving. And I gotta be careful and grab on, because this is a mini boss, the stone Talus. These are just kind of out in the world. I'm gonna lock on to this ore deposit, which is actually its health, and smack it a bunch, and hold on, Link. Oh, jeez. Okay, we fell off. You gotta be careful, because he will get mad about somebody walking on his back, and he'll shake us off occasionally. I'm gonna hit this as much as I can by charging up my attack. Some amber flew off. I'm gonna jump off, actually, because I know he's gonna fall down and possibly try to shake me off. Now, those rocks on his arm, I will try to get one more good hit on him, and then I'll show you guys what happens if you let this guy get some attacks going on you. All right, one more big charge attack. Hopefully my claymore will hold out. There we go, it broke, and I got the critical hit. He's probably gonna be a little mad about that. Don't worry about picking this stuff up, because it will still be there later, and I gotta be careful. Okay, so yeah, when he sees you, he will throw his arms at you, but that's actually a good opening for me to sneak around behind him and try to jump on, because he has to go back down into the ground to find a rock to use. And, oh, can we get up here? All right, I'm gonna try to, actually the axe might be a little bit more durable to do this. So once my stamina's back, if he doesn't shake me off, here we go. Not doing too much. Oh, we kind of fell over where he didn't charge quite right. There we go. And then I'll probably switch to a sword, because the axe isn't doing quite as much. Grab that amber while we're at it, and don't let him slam on you. Oh, jeez. This is dicey. All right, let me eat something here. Maybe a steak and a baked apple, and a normal apple should add up to my full life. I gotta watch out, because he turns pretty quick for a big old rock guy, and he will very quickly be trying to throw a rock at me. Jeez. Yeah, this is really scary early on. I don't have the armor to protect me from these hits, and he is a rough customer. All right, now there's some safer ways to take this guy down with some of the stuff I've got. And if this attack doesn't work here, I might go for that, because he's not gonna be so happy with me climbing on his rocky rump when he's so low on health. Just gotta get up there. It's a little tough to climb on him when he's standing upright. There we go. Okay, so if he doesn't know I'm up here and doesn't shake me off, I'm gonna try to hit him as much as I can with this sword. He is so close to dead. There we go. All right. Now the other strategy you could use is, there we go, some victory music. Hit him with some bomb arrows if you've got him, because those do a ton of damage. And the best way to get him to kneel down and reveal his weakness is to get him to throw those arms and then shoot him with a bomb arrow. So here's some flint. That is really useful if you want to start a fire, like the one I rested at. And you just put some wood down that you get from trees and put some flint near it and strike it with a metal weapon. So there we go. That guy can be terrifying, but he is a great source of ore. So I wanted to show you guys that. And I can, keep this stamp around here so that it's like, hey, remember that guy is there and be careful. Maybe head over to Hopper Pond here, because there might be something good. If anything is ever named on the map, there's probably at least something near there. Maybe a Korok, maybe a something cool. Speaking of which, there we go. I just spotted something interesting off on the cliff, and I actually remember what that is. So I'm going to mark that with a little leaf, but let's be careful here. This is a bigger camp of bokoblin than I've encountered thus far for the most part. No blue ones, so I should be okay. And of course, line of sight is important, so I might wait until he's turned away and then maybe try to sneak in. He's yawning. See if I can hit him from here. Gotta hurry and hit him more before he can sound the alarm. There we go. Trying to line up that arrow can be tough from far away. These guys are having a little snack, actually. Let's zoom in and take a look at them. Look at them eating their boar meat. And they've got some roasting that we can steal. Let me see if we can take one down while we're at it. Ooh, trying to hit one right in the, ooh. And I broke my one bow, but we got some traveler's bows, which should work fine. Well, now they know I'm here. They're gonna run across the pond. Ones with shields, you gotta be a little careful because they can actually use those shields to try to get you to hit their defenses, and then it'll block stuff. As a shield works, they'll block your hits and waste your ammo, or your durability. You could waste your ammo too if you're firing arrows at them. There we go. Oh, jeez. Weren't close enough. Yeah, usually you'll rush in with a flurry attack, but Link happened to fall into some water there. We were maxed out on shields, so we don't really need any of those. Grab some of their horns. We got one more here before we can reap the spoils of that chest. And if you jump and happen to fly through the air... Oh, almost got him. That would have been cool. If you're flying through the air and you pull your bow out, that is a great way to get that really slow down shot. And that is one of the best uses of horses, if you happen to have some. Ooh, wasted an arrow because I didn't think I would have gotten him fully. There we are. And the chest is unlocked. So yeah, the horse, great way to get around, as you will see very soon here when we're off the plateau. But having a portable thing to jump off of is very, very useful, especially when we start fighting some terrifying guardians more often. Those are very good to have your horse slow down time and make your arrows fly true. All right, and I think my axe broke. Oh no, I still have it. Okay, so that's a good way to break open crates, as we saw before. Gonna grab their steak. They ate a bunch of it, but there's some leftovers for me. And of course, lots of goodies in these crates. Lots of arrows and apples. So we have plenty of health and plenty of ammo. The archers, the guards especially, that are hanging out up on the towers tend to have at least one bundle of arrows. So that's a great way to stock up on those. And I think there's some type of thing we can climb around here if I'm being observant. But I also want to make sure we don't miss that one thing that I spotted. I think we could climb down on that cliff and then get to that a little easier. Here it is. So, ooh, if we wanted to sneak up on this lizard, I could use him to make an elixir. So that counts as a critter. And critters are used to make those potions. I wonder if they called them potions instead of elixir. In old games they were potions. Now they're elixirs because I think they have a lot of different effects. And they didn't want people to be confused about potions healing magic and health. This is kind of a treacherous climb. We can make it with the stamina that I've got and take a nice look around while I'm doing it. But the stamina potions definitely help you out if you happen to be running out during some of these tough climbs. So that is where we're headed over there. There's a shrine up on that chilly mountain, and we'll also be able to get to that other cliff. There's a lot of stuff around here that is interesting that we're going to head to. But you can also take a look off into the distance and see many, many towers that we'll eventually get to, and some peaks. There we go. We're close enough where I wanted to use that last bit of stamina to jump and make sure I wouldn't fall. Some arrows, very handy at this point. But yeah, we are headed to, actually not that mountain there. That is, that's another one way off in the distance. We're going to one that's a little closer, but still snowy. All right. And you got to be careful. You could kind of drop off of these and push towards them to maybe grab on again. There we go. You got to make sure you're at the right level to scoot your way down. Later, we'll, of course, have our paraglider, so we don't have to be as afraid to drop down those cliffs. I think we're going to finish up before we, make our way fully up into the cold weather. There is a cool little camp here that I will take out. And we got some good stuff this episode. Lots of supplies, lots of ore, of course, to sell, some rubies and things like that. Definitely worth the risk taking on that stone talus. So this is very windy here. We're going to learn a little bit about wind mechanics. And if I have the room, I can use a branch. I'm just actually going to light this Boko Club on fire and toss it into all that very dry looking grass, because it will not only create an updraft for us to use our paraglider on, but it is going to cause quite a bit of fire to spread. And if we're fast enough, we can get it. Yeah, you can see that question mark filling up. He almost saw me. I'm just going to let him run off and freak out, because that fire is getting ever closer to explosive barrels and their camp there. So that did a bit of damage. Let's grab one more of my clubs here just to free up some more inventory space. We could use those branches, but I'm going to grab this club And uh-oh, lit myself on fire there a little bit. I shouldn't have done that. Let's have a couple apples or a steak. We'll do that. Yeah, I was gonna throw it at him, but we'll take him on the normal way. Here we go. Let's do this. Get some more of this fire going on my club, and then launch it right at him. Ooh, they missed that. That's all right. We don't need it. I can use some sword fighting here to dodge and take on. Look at him. He looks so cool, but he's about to die, flying through the air. We're starting to run out of weapons, but the way the game works, of course, is that you steal your weapons from your enemies most of the time. Hey, they know I'm here. I killed most of them. Tooting his horn still, trying to let everybody know that's what the guards are there for. And this guy, it looks like he lost something. Nope, he's just backing up to get a better shot at me. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for him. Okay, we'll see what else we got in here, because there's probably some good stuff. There's a chest. You can tell usually the wooden chests don't have as much stuff. The stone ones tend to be decent, and then the metal ones tend to be the best. But there's some fire arrows to reward our efforts of lighting this place on fire, because we could use a fire arrow to get that. And while these Boca Clubs are burning, I can pick them up, and as long as we don't, take them out, they will not be on fire. So we can do that to keep them. I love the cool skull layer design here. But yeah, it is nice to have the ability to put your weapons out just by switching to or swapping to a different weapon. It'll put it in your inventory, and it'll work just like the Deku sticks in old Zelda games and extinguish it for you. Okay, I'm gonna climb my way up the mountain here, and let's get our first glimpse of the snowy landscape that we are headed towards. There's a couple rocks that we could also have dropped on the bokoblins' heads and explosive barrels to set it off. That's another thing I really like about this game, is that there are so many ways to tackle puzzles and battles. You don't have to do the same thing, and even though we have an axe, I can now use these bombs to blast a tree. I was just talking about firewood earlier to make a fire, and that's the easiest way to do it, is just blast a tree and blast it into piles of wood, and that way you get it without using up any durability, because especially early on, every little bit counts when your weapons break pretty easily. There we go. That is where we're headed. The shrine up ahead. Looking around these extra, boundary walls, you might find little chests hidden, so keep your eyes open, but nothing too great. Still looking for some early armor here, because I know with the Hylian trousers, it seems like the Hylian tunic and hood should be right around here. You can buy it later on, but I'm going to keep my eyes open and see if we can find that before we get to the first town. Thank you guys so much for watching. There is a camp ahead that is going to be a bit tougher than the ones we've seen so far, and there's also the shrine up the mountain, so that is where we're going on the next episode. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this. Maybe subscribe if you haven't. And we've got a lot of adventure ahead on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.